My beloved child, before your mind runs toward the things still left unfinished, let your heart become still in my presence. I do not stand far away observing you like a passerby. I bend down close to you with the love of a father who knows every trace of weariness within your soul. There are things I desire to place within you today, not as a fleeting comfort, but as a living seed sown into the deepest soil of your heart. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. As in Psalm Kolomekumentakaks, Kahadiksen. Do you see? My gaze is not a cold gaze of judgment, but a gaze that guides, shelters, and restores. When you open your heart to receive my word, you do not merely hear with your ears. You begin to recognize with your soul that every step you take is being covered by a quiet yet perfectly precise care. There are days when you think your life is made only of small things, ordinary mornings, silent spaces no one sees, and sighs you hide behind a smile. But my child, in my kingdom, no moment is meaningless when it is placed in the light of faith. A tear you shed in silence, a prayer you have not yet fully spoken, a holy desire just beginning to rise in your heart, all of it is seen by me. The Lord does not see as man sees. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. As in it Samuel Sexton, Shew. Therefore, do not be quick to underestimate the gentle movements taking place within you. Others may only see that you are the same as yesterday, but I see the roots of faith growing deeper. I see your heart becoming tender again, and I see the eyes of your spirit slowly being washed clean from the dust of fear. I want to teach you a new way of seeing, not the hurried sight of someone who measures only by circumstances, but the sight of one who knows that behind the mist, the Father's hand is still arranging all things. When your eyes stop only at what is in front of you, storms can easily unsettle you, but when your heart learns to look at what I am doing, you will find peace even in the midst of things that have not yet been explained. For we walk by faith, not by sight. As in 2 Corinthians 5:7, faith does not deny reality, but places reality beneath my greater light. You may still see hardship, but hardship will no longer rule over you. You may still see a door that is not opened, but you will no longer conclude that I have forgotten. You may still pass through a dim and unclear day, yet within your heart, the quiet lamp will remain burning. Remember the story of Elisha and the young servant in 2 Kings 6. When the city of Dothan was surrounded by the enemy, the servant saw only horses, chariots, and soldiers encircling them, and his heart trembled. But Elisha did not panic, because he was seeing with a deeper vision. He prayed, "O Lord, please open his eyes, that he may see." And when the servant's eyes were opened, he saw the mountain full of horses and chariots of fire surrounding Elisha. My beloved child, what I want you to understand is this. My protection is often present before you recognize it. My heavenly armies do not arrive only when you see danger. I have already sent protection ahead of you from the time before you even knew you needed to be guarded. Therefore, when fear says that you are surrounded, ask me to open the eyes of your heart, so you may see that what surrounds you is greater than what opposes you. From today onward, do not look at life only through eyes that have grown accustomed to anxiety. Let me purify the way you observe yourself, others, and the seasons you are passing through. There are things you once called delays, but in truth, they were preparation. There were silences you once feared, but in truth, they were places where I was making your heart stronger. There were paths that were closed, but in truth, they were fences of love, keeping you from what did not belong to my promise. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. as in Matthew 6:22. When the sight within you is healed, your whole life begins to change. Your words become gentler. Your reactions slow down. Your gratitude grows deeper. And peace is no longer a visitor passing through, but a dwelling place. I am inviting you into a life that knows how to behold in holiness, not so that you would separate yourself from the world, but so that you may walk in the midst of the world without letting its noise steal your clarity. When you look upon a new morning, see it not merely as time passing, but as mercy being given once again. When you meet someone who irritates you, look deeper than your first reaction, because perhaps I am teaching you patience, compassion, and maturity. When you face a small task in your day, do it as though you were offering me a quiet sacrifice. For whatever you do it wholeheartedly, as unto the Lord. According to Colossians 3:23, you do not need to wait for great moments in order to live spiritually. It is faithfulness in small things that will open your eyes to the beauty of what is eternal. And when your heart grows weary, return to me. Do not force yourself to be strong by your own strength, and do not blame yourself for the times when you cannot see clearly. A child is not abandoned by his father simply because he does not yet understand the whole path. I will carry you through the places where you do not yet have the strength to walk, illuminate what you do not yet have the wisdom to discern, and guard you from the voices that would darken your soul. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. As in Psalm 119:1. The light I give does not always reveal the entire journey, but it is always enough for the next step. You do not need to see the whole future in order to have peace. You only need to know that the one who is leading you is faithful. So, my beloved child, look back upon your life with eyes that have been touched by me. See that in ordinary days, grace is quietly blooming. See that in what remains unfinished, my hand is still shaping and forming. See within your own heart a garden I am tending, pulling out the thorns of fear, pouring down the waters of hope, and causing the flowers of pure joy to grow. I am nearer to you than breath, gentler than the dawn, and more steadfast than the mountains. Continue walking in that light, not as one being pushed into tomorrow, but as one being led by your Father into a land of blessing prepared in love. My beloved child, there are doors in your life that do not open by pressure, nor by the haste of the mind, but open when you know how to become still before me. I do not call you to turn inward so that you may imprison yourself in layers of thought, nor do I want you to dig through your heart with fear. I invite you to enter that secret place as one entering a holy sanctuary, where there are movements so gentle, yet marked with the traces of grace. Sometimes it is only a softening of the heart, a breath that suddenly becomes lighter, a pure thought passing through like sunlight upon the water, or a sense of peace that you cannot explain by outward circumstances. Do not underestimate those small signs, for often my spirit does not come like thunder shaking the mountains, but like a very gentle breeze awakening the deepest part of you. Be still and know that I am God. As in Psalm 46:10, that stillness is not an empty void, but the place where your heart ceases its resistance so it can recognize that I am near. Therefore, when a new day opens before you, carry this small practice with you like a lamp in your hand. Before a message that makes your heart waver, pause it. Before an invitation that leaves you confused, pause it. Before an old sorrow suddenly rises again, pause it. Not to avoid it, but to place everything beneath my loving gaze. You will see that what once made you react intensely begins to lose its power. What once pulled you into a spiral of overthinking begins to grow quiet. What once left you unsettled begins to be reordered in the light. I will not only show you what to do, but also teach you who to become in every choice. For what I am building within you is not merely a life with right decisions, but a soul with right peace, a heart that knows how to remain in me, and a mind renewed by my presence. My beloved child, believe that I do not require you to understand every signal within your heart immediately. I am a patient Father, and I am pleased to teach you step by step. Each time you pause instead of rushing, each time you breathe deeply instead of letting anxiety carry you away, each time you bring your emotions beneath my light instead of hiding them in darkness, you are growing in holy wisdom. Then a day will come when you realize that peace is no longer something distant that you must search for in moments of crisis, but has become the quiet, underlying rhythm of your life. Then you will walk among crossroads without panic, face questions without losing yourself, and choose with a heart anchored firmly in me. I am there, in the smallest silence, in the gentlest breath, in the softest light leading you toward life. My beloved child, I want you to understand that the places where I meet you are not always covered with the radiant light of extraordinary moments. Often, I draw very near in the simplicity of an ordinary day, when your hands are touching small tasks, when your steps pass along a familiar path, when your room is being arranged in quiet order. Do not think that only when you kneel in prayer can your soul hear me. There are words I sow into you while you are washing a cup, wiping a table, folding a garment, or standing still by the window watching the light change color across the sky. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might, as in Ecclesiastes 9:10. But I want you to do it not with tension, but with an awakened heart, knowing that even the smallest task can become an altar when you do it in my presence. When you return to listen in the secret place within, you will gradually recognize that peace is not a rare visitor who comes only during carefully prepared sacred hours. My peace can soak into the most ordinary rhythm of life, like morning dew sinking into the soil, quiet yet softening everything, a slower breath in the midst of busyness, a gentler response before something unpleasant, a clear thought appearing when you thought you were overwhelmed. All of these are traces of me passing through your soul. You will keep in perfect peace the one whose mind is stayed on you. As in Isaiah 26:3, that peace does not require circumstances to be perfect. It only needs your heart to stop wandering too far from me, so it may be anchored again in the steadfast love of its Father. Therefore, see, every time you pause to recognize your own heart as a private meeting with me, you do not need lengthy words or a solemn setting. You only need a heart willing to open the door. When you ask yourself, what is moving within me? What is weighing on my heart? What is inviting me to step closer to the light? Then you are placing your soul beneath my care. Let us examine and test our ways, and return to the Lord. As in Lamentation true, Courant, the self-examination I teach you is not meant to condemn you, but to free you from invisible bonds. I do not want you to be pulled along by the hurried calls of the world, nor do I want you to live as one who merely reacts to every outward collision. I want you to become a child with a bright inner life, deep roots, and the ability to pause before losing peace. Remember Moses, my beloved child. I did not call him amid the noisy palaces of Egypt, nor did I awaken his mission through the applause of the crowd. I met him while he was tending sheep in the wilderness, in a repeated task that seemed to have nothing extraordinary about it. Yet right there in that desert place, the bush burned without being consumed. And I said, "Take off your sandals from your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." As in Exodus 3:5. Do you see? What made that place holy was not that it appeared radiant in the eyes of the world, but that I was present there. In the same way, your small kitchen, your familiar road, your work desk, and the quiet corner of your room can all become holy ground when you recognize that I am with you in every rhythm of life. There are times when you think true change must come through a great event, a powerful sign, or a clear reversal. But I often build what is lasting through very small layers of grace. Each time you pause instead of speaking hastily, I am teaching you self-control. Each time you observe your sadness without allowing it to swallow you, I am teaching you courage. Each time you choose to record something I have done, even if it is only a thin ray of light in the day, I am helping you raise up milestones of faith. Remember the whole way that the Lord your God has led you. As in Deuteronomy 8:2, sacred memory is not only for looking back at the past, it becomes evidence that helps your heart stand firm when the future is still unclear. When you write down those quiet movements, you are not merely recording emotions. You are learning to discern my footprints in your life. Perhaps today, you can only write that your heart feels a little lighter, that you did not react as you once did, that you recognized an old fear, but no longer bowed before it. Do not consider those things small. In my eyes, they are young shoots of maturity. Mary, the mother of Jesus, did not fully understand everything happening around the Holy Child. But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. As in Luke Cox, a heart that knows how to keep and ponder will not let grace pass by like water over stone. It holds it, cherishes it, and in the proper season, understanding will bloom into deeper faith. Then you will see that, over time, this quiet faithfulness begins to renew the way you live. You are no longer easily swept away by the rushing current of impatience. You hear a difficult word without immediately building walls of defense. You encounter something contrary to your will without letting the whole day be colored by bitterness. You stand before a choice and know how to wait for peace to speak before you move forward. Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than one who takes a city. As in Proverbs 16:32, true strength is not that you can control everything outside of you, but that outward things can no longer so easily steal the throne of peace within you. I am making you strong in that holy way, gentle yet steadfast, tender yet not weak, quiet yet full of power. And when the eyes within you are healed, I will teach you to look at the world outside with a new light. You will no longer see only people who are difficult to love, but souls in need of mercy. You will no longer see only obstacles, but invitations to grow. You will no longer see only ordinary days repeating themselves, but grace hidden within each small rhythm. May the eyes of your heart be enlightened. As in Ephesians 1:18, this is what I am doing within you, so that your vision will no longer be confined to the outward appearance of things, but will begin to touch the deeper meaning I am weaving. When you see as I see, you will judge less, give thanks more, hope more steadily, and love from an unfailing source that comes from me. So, my beloved child, continue to be faithful to those quiet appointments. Return to your own heart in my light, without fear, without haste, and without self-blame. I am there, not to search you harshly, but to heal you. I am working in the things you thought were slow, cultivating in the places you thought were empty, and lighting up the corners you once thought no one could see. One day, you will look back and realize that you have changed, calmer in the storm, kinder in moments of friction, wiser in your choices, and filled with hope even when the road is still long. Keep walking, for every awakened breath is bringing you nearer to my heart, and when your heart comes into rhythm with mine, your eyes will reflect the gaze of the Father. The gaze that turns every ordinary thing into a place where grace blooms. My beloved child, I am leading you from inner awareness into a deeper realm of seeing, where your eyes no longer measure things only by old memories, old wounds, or conclusions formed during seasons when you had not yet been healed. There are times when you look at a person and see only what they have done, look at a circumstance and see only delay, look at yourself and see only the limitations you have not yet overcome. But I do not see that way. The Lord does not see as man sees. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart, as in it Samuel Sexton, Shoe. Therefore, today I do not only want you to become more peaceful, I want you to be renewed in the way you see when your gaze is placed beneath my light. The same situation will no longer suffocate you as it once did. You will begin to see, in what irritates you, a gentle lesson. In what you do not yet understand, an invitation to trust. In the person who hurt you, a soul also in need of grace. And in yourself, a work that I have never abandoned. Do not think that you must possess every answer before you can walk forward. My wisdom does not always unfold like a complete map from beginning to end. Often I light only enough for the step before you. And as you take that step, the next light appears. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. As in Psalm 119, Satavisi, that lamp is not the sun exposing the entire long road, but it is enough to keep you from stumbling in this present moment. My beloved child, faith is not closing your eyes and rushing into darkness. Faith is opening your eyes to my faithfulness, even when your mind does not yet fully understand what I am doing. For we walk by faith, not by sight. Azing 2 Corinthians 5:7. When you say, I believe, and then Father will teach me to understand more, your heart is released from the chain of needing to control everything. There is a story I want you to remember. When Hagar was walking in the wilderness with Ishmael, the water had run out, and hope seemed to have run out with it. She placed the child under a bush, then sat at a distance and wept, thinking she had nothing left but to witness loss. But I heard the voice of the child, and my angel called to her in that desolate place. Scripture says that God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, as in Genesis 21:19. Do you see? The well did not necessarily appear only at that moment. What changed was that her eyes were opened to recognize that the source of life was already near. In the same way, there are seasons when you think you have been left behind in dryness, but in truth, grace has been placed nearer than you realize. What you need is not only a new circumstance, but a gaze touched by me, so you may see water in the place you once called a desert. Therefore, I want you to learn to carry a holy lens into each day you live. Do not let your morning begin with the question, what will make me anxious today? Begin instead with one of my attributes, and let it cover the way you look at everything. If today you choose my faithfulness as your lens, you will not be so quick to conclude that you have been forgotten simply because a door remains closed. You will remember that I still keep covenant, still work in silence, and still sustain you through things you cannot see. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. As in Lamentation true, vine do a vine true. When you look through that faithfulness, a rainy day is no longer proof of absence. It becomes a season in which the soil is watered, so the seed within you can grow. If on another day you choose my gentleness as your frame of vision, you will recognize many opportunities to respond with grace instead of reacting from pain. You will hear a difficult word without quickly turning it into a battlefield. You will meet someone clumsy in the way they love without immediately closing the door of your heart. You will face your own weaknesses without using the whip of condemnation against your soul. Learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart. As in Matthew 11:29, my gentleness is not weakness, it is strength made holy. Power that knows how to lift up instead of crush. When you look through that gentleness, you will become less eager to win every argument and more desirous of preserving life in every word you speak. Then there are times when I want you to choose my nearness as your lens. Then you will no longer seek me only in great signs and wonders, but will recognize me in the breath lifting your chest, in the stillness between two thoughts, in a breeze passing through the window, in a line of scripture that suddenly touches the very place in your heart that needs comfort. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. As in Psalm 34:18, I am not far away, so that you must cry out loudly before I can hear. I am so near that when you become still, you will realize I have been standing there all along. A healed vision will help you see that my presence does not depend on intense emotions, but remains as steady as the ground beneath your feet. My beloved child, pray as one who knows that your eyes need to be opened each day. Open my eyes, that I may behold wondrous things from your law. As in Psalm 119, spiritual eyes do not become bright on their own through experience, position, or age. They are illuminated by humility and a willingness to let me teach you. Perhaps today you still do not understand why certain things had to happen the way they did. Perhaps you still have questions, empty spaces, and pieces that have not yet fallen into place. But I want you to rest in this. You do not need to understand everything in order to be loved. You do not need to see everything in order to be led. And you do not need to have perfect vision before I patiently correct it day by day. May the eyes of your heart be enlightened. As in Ephesians 1:18, this is the work I am doing. Gentle, yet deep. Quiet, yet enduring. So from today onward, when you encounter something that makes your heart tremble, do not be quick to ask what it will take away from you. Ask instead, if I looked through the Father's eyes, what would I see here? When you meet someone who is difficult to love, do not quickly close yourself off in judgment. Ask, with what mercy is the Father looking upon this person? When you look at yourself on days when you are not yet strong, do not see only what is lacking. Ask, what is the Father growing within me through this season? Each question like this will open a new pathway in your mind. And little by little, you will see that your gaze is no longer imprisoned by fear, but begins to reflect my own, purer, more generous, and more hopeful. When you see as I see, you do not merely change your emotions, you change the way you live, the way you love, the way you choose, and the way you keep walking through this world as a child, carrying the light of your Father. My beloved child, when your eyes begin to be washed clean by my love, you will realize that the world is not as poor as your weary days once made you think. There are very small things that still carry the breath of grace, a streak of light slanting through the window, a leaf still holding a drop of morning dew, a hand unexpectedly placed on your shoulder at the very moment your heart needs to be reminded that you are not alone. These things are not soulless coincidences. They are shining fragments of my kindness scattered along the road you walk. The heavens declare the glory of God. As in Psalm 19:1, yet it is not only the heights of the sky that speak of me. Even the most ordinary things are whispering that my hand still upholds creation, still keeps the rhythm of life, and still tenderly cares for every small part of your day. Therefore, do not wait until everything becomes great before you believe that I am at work. There are miracles that do not come with a loud sound, but through a very gentle turning in the way you see. When something does not happen as you expected, you are often quick to think that the door of goodness is closed. But, my child, My vision reaches beyond the horizon your eyes have not yet touched. What you call delay may be protection. What you call loss may be deliverance. What you call a detour may be the road I use to make your heart steadier before you step into something greater. All things work together for good for those who love God. As in Romans 8:28, that does not mean everything is pleasant, but it means nothing is beyond my power to redeem when you place it into the hands of your Father. At times, I will invite you to look back at a situation not with your old reflexes, but with a new holiness. When someone speaks a word that hurts you, you may want to respond immediately in order to protect yourself. When something happens against your will, you may be quick to conclude that you have been overlooked. But before you allow emotion to take the reins, pause with me. Take a deep breath. Then ask in the secret place, if the Father looked at this, what would he see? That question does not weaken the truth, nor does it force you to deny what is wrong. It simply brings the truth out of the darkness of pain and places it in the light of love. Be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. As in James 1:19, for many times, if you only slow down by one breath, you will see that behind an awkward action is a weary soul. Behind a hard word is a wound not yet healed. And behind an unpleasant situation is an opportunity for you to sow gentleness instead of adding more thorns. I want you to remember the story of Peter and Cornelius in Acts 10. Peter once carried within him the familiar boundaries of tradition and an old way of seeing. But when I opened a vision to him, then led him to the house of Cornelius, he began to understand that I do not look at people through the walls that human beings build. He declared that God shows no partiality, but in every nation, the one who fears him and does what is right is pleasing to him. Do you see? When Peter's eyes were opened, someone who might once have been considered outside was suddenly seen within the vast plan of my mercy. In the same way, I am widening your vision so that you will not be imprisoned by prejudice, old experiences, or old fears, but will know how to look at others with disciplined compassion, with truth that is not harsh, and with love that is not blind. When you learn to see as I see, you will recognize worth in those whom the world passes by. You will no longer pay attention only to the radiant, the strong, or those who can benefit you. You will recognize light in the one who serves quietly, in the one who is trying to rise again after many falls, in the one who says little but carries a heart heavy with things no one has asked about. A bruised reed he will not break, and a faintly burning wick he will not quench. As in Isaiah 42:3, that is how I see. I do not cast away what is still weak. I do not despise what is still small. And I do not make hasty conclusions about what is still in the process of being restored. And when you allow that gaze to soak into you, you will also stop treating your own soul cruelly. You will see yourself not as a flawed draft that must be torn apart, but as a work I am patiently perfecting, stroke by stroke, through grace. Then you will realize that this life is not merely a sequence of disconnected events. In my hands, every day is a brushstroke. Every encounter is a color, and every joy, as well as every tear, can be taken by me into a much larger painting. When you stand too close, you may see only one dark stroke and think the whole picture has been ruined. But I, the one who sees from the beginning to the end, am weaving a beauty that the present moment cannot yet fully explain. For now we see dimly in a mirror, but then face to face. In Azim, 1 Coríntios 13:12. Therefore, do not let one dark stroke cause you to doubt the hand of the artist. Trust that I know how to place light beside shadow, how to turn broken lines into depth, and how to use even the seasons you do not understand to reveal the glory of my love. It is from this renewed vision that worship will bloom naturally within you. Worship is not only a song rising in the church, nor only a prayer you offer when your heart is joyful. Worship is when you look at an ordinary day and say, Father is still here. Worship is when you do not yet have the answer, yet still guard your heart from bitterness. Worship is when you do a small task with a clean heart, forgive something difficult, and choose hope when the reasons for hope still seem very thin. So, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do all to the glory of God. As in Corinthians 10:31, when you live this way, every breath can become a fragrance offered up to me, and every quiet action can become a gift. My beloved child, there is a kind of freedom that opens when you learn to see in order to worship. For praise draws your heart out of the spiral of lack and places it into the river of my presence. When you worship before you can see everything clearly, the chains of fear begin to loosen. When you give thanks in small things, you are no longer a prisoner of what you do not yet have. You become one who recognizes the treasure already in your hands. Paul and Silas sang praises to me in prison at midnight, and their chains were opened. As in Acts 16, but before the prison doors shook, their hearts were already free because they knew how to place me higher than their circumstances. I want you to step into that same freedom, not freedom because everything has become favorable, but freedom because your soul knows how to praise the one who still reigns in love. So walk today with eyes that have been sanctified. Look at the small ray of light and remember my great kindness. Look at the person who is difficult to love and ask me to show you what needs mercy. Without losing wisdom, look at yourself with reverence, for you are fearfully and wonderfully made. As in Psalm 119 Nelia Toista, and in all things, let your heart respond with worship. When you see as I see, you will live as one dwelling within a vast sanctuary, where the sky, the room, the road, the work, the tears, and the smile can all become places of encounter with the Father. Then your life will no longer be only something you go through, but a song you offer to me, breath by breath, day by day, until your gaze is completely joined with my light, my beloved child. I want you to understand that worship is not only a song that rises when your heart feels light, but also a lamp lit in the deepest night of the soul. There are times when your heart aches because of what has not yet been healed, because of words not yet answered, because of an emptiness no one else can see. But even while tears are still warm upon your cheeks, you can still offer me a truthful song, not a song meant to cover your pain, nor a forced smile meant to prove that you are strong, but the worship of a heart that knows its Father has not left. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. As in Psalm 119. Do you see? Praise does not wait until everything is settled before it rises, many times. Praise itself is the path I use to bring my peace into the middle of your confusion. I do not require you to come before me with a heart that is already completely healed. I receive even the trembling song, the thanksgiving still caught in your throat, and the silence that carries within it a small desire to believe once more. When you worship amid what is still unclear, you are declaring that circumstances do not have the right to define my faithfulness. Though the fig tree should not blossom, nor fruit be on the vines, though the olive tree should fail, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. As in Habakkuk 17:18. That is mature worship. It does not deny loss, but it does not allow loss to sit on the throne. It does not pretend that everything is pleasant, but it still places me above everything you are enduring. When you do this, my light passes through the cracks in your heart, and the very place that once hurt becomes a window through which hope can shine. Remember Jehoshaphat when the people of Judah faced an army far greater than their own strength. They did not know what to do, but they knew to set their eyes upon me. Before the battle, the king appointed singers to go before the soldiers, not with weapons in their hands, but with praise upon their lips. Give thanks to the Lord, for his steadfast love endures forever. As in 2 Chronicles 20:21. And when they began to sing, I acted in a way they could not have produced by their own strength. My beloved child, there are battles in your life that are the same. You do not overcome first by controlling every detail, but by placing me in the highest position within your heart. Worship is not an escape from reality. It is the way you invite my power into that reality. Therefore, I want you to build places into your life that remind you of my presence. They do not need to be grand, and they do not need to be displayed before others. It may be only a small, quiet corner, an open Bible, a sheet of paper where you write down what you are grateful for, a gentle lamp, or a chair where you often sit in silence before me for a few minutes. What matters is not the outward object, but the sanctification within your heart. When you return to that place, your mind will gradually remember, I have kept you through seasons you thought you could not survive, lifted you up when your heart was weak, and opened a way when everything before you seemed like a closed wall. Remember the wondrous works that he has done, as in Psalm 120. That remembrance will become an anchor, so that when new waves rise, your soul will not be carried too far away. Then I will teach you to turn worship into a holy reflex. When something unexpected makes your heart waver, instead of letting complaint step out first, let trust take the first step. Say to me, even if very softly, Father, I thank you because you are still here. That sentence does not erase your true emotions, but places those emotions beneath the wide sky of my presence. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God. As in Thessalonians visi, kahdeksanttoista. I am not telling you to give thanks for evil as though it were good. I am teaching you to give thanks in all things because I still have the power to redeem, heal, lead, and transform. When thanksgiving is placed at the doorway of your lips, anxiety will find it harder to dwell for long within your heart. There will be days when worship feels easy, like clear water flowing naturally from a spring. But there will also be days when every song feels as though you must lift a heavy stone from your chest. Do not be afraid of those days. I do not despise praise that is offered with the little strength you have left. Through him, then, let us continually offer up a sacrifice of praise to God. As in Hebrews 13:15. Sacrifice means that something is placed upon the altar. Sometimes what you place there is joy, but sometimes it is tears, waiting, unanswered questions, and a heart that still chooses to believe even while trembling. And I receive it all, not as worthless fragments, but as the fragrance of your heart loving me in the midst of trial. You also need to know that worship is not found only in a song. I listen to the song of your life, a kind word spoken when you could have chosen bitterness, a compassionate gaze given when you could have passed by, patience in a time of waiting, a small task done with a pure heart. All of these can become worship. Whatever you do, in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord. As in Colossians 3:17. When you wash the dishes with a peaceful heart, when you tidy your room as though preparing a place for the light, when you do your daily work with faithfulness, these things are no longer ordinary. They become the quiet drumbeat in the song your life offers up to me. And as you continue to live this way, day by day, you will realize that your heart becomes lighter, not because every burden disappears at once, but because you are no longer carrying them alone. Your eyes will become brighter, because gratitude wipes away some of the dust of complaint. Your mind will become wider, because praise opens the door for hope to enter. When the soul is filled with worship, fear will no longer be able to pitch its tent within you as easily as before. And from that place, I will lead you deeper into surrender. For the one who knows how to worship me in a day that is still unclear will also learn how to trust me before seeing the outcome. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. As in Proverbs 3:5, my beloved child, the one you praise is also the one who is guarding the road you walk. The one who receives your worship is also the one who upholds every step you take with mercy that never runs dry. My beloved child, there is a very deep freedom I want to lead you into, the freedom of a soul that no longer has to grip everything tightly, as though the whole world would collapse if you let go. I know there have been seasons when you became accustomed to living in calculation, always trying to predict the outcome, always preparing for the worst, always straining to keep everything under control. But my child, your hands were not created to carry the burden of all tomorrow. I have said, cast all your anxieties on him, because he cares for you. As in at Peter Fem, Shu. Surrender does not mean you lose responsibility, nor does it mean you give up in helplessness. Surrender is when you take what is precious, what is unclear, what you are afraid to lose, what you do not know how to handle, and place it into the hands of the one who loves you more than you can understand, trusting that, in my hands, all things will be arranged with wisdom, not with panic. I am not telling you to stop walking. I am teaching you not to walk alone. Each day, before the things that seem very small, learn to offer them to me through silent prayers, as natural as breath. Before you send a message that may unsettle your heart, say, Father, I place these words in your hands. Before you enter a difficult conversation, say, guide my lips in peace. Before you begin your work, before you leave the house, before you make a decision that leaves your heart uncertain, entrust that moment to me. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. As in Proverbs 3:6, do you see? I do not want to be present only in your great decisions. I want to be invited into every small detail, because it is those small details that form the direction of your whole life. There are things you think you can only be at peace with once you understand them completely. But I am teaching you a higher order. Trust first, and then the light will gradually unfold. If you demand to see the entire road before you are willing to step forward, you will remain standing forever at the threshold of what I have prepared. Faith is not that you see every turn in the road, but that you know the one who leads you never loses the way. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. As in Psalm 119, that lamp often does not shine all the way to the end of the journey. It gives enough light for you to continue in obedience today. And as you walk, the light walks with you. As you trust, your heart is no longer torn apart by the question, what if? But anchored in the gentle whisper, I am holding you. Learn to offer your schedule to me, not as a rigid plan that forces me to bless according to your will, but as an open page on which I may write things even better. Each morning, you may place before yourself the tasks that need to be done, but leave a holy space for me to adjust them. Sometimes what you think is most important is not what I am emphasizing that day. Sometimes an unexpected meeting, a person who needs to be listened to, a necessary pause, or a slowing down that seems to waste time is actually the very place where I am protecting your peace. The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. As in Proverbs 16, 9. I am not breaking your life when I adjust your plans. I am saving you from priorities that disguise themselves as necessary while quietly draining your soul. My beloved child, remember Ruth, the woman who stepped into a future she could not clearly see. When she chose to follow Naomi, she left behind what was familiar and entered a new people, a new land, and a new story whose ending she did not yet know. She spoke only with a faithful heart, "Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God." As in Ruth 1:16. At that moment, she did not know that the field where she would glean would lead her to Boaz. Nor did she know that her quiet faithfulness would be woven by me into the lineage of the Savior. Do you see? Surrender often begins very quietly, like a footstep on a dusty road, like a choice to love when the heart has no guarantee. But when that is placed into my hands, I can cause an entire season of redemption to bloom from the place where you saw only loss. Therefore, do not confuse surrender with passivity. The one who surrenders is not someone who lies still and lets everything drift away, but someone awake enough to listen when I say to move, and humble enough to stop when I say to wait. There are times when I will urge you to act with courage. There are times when I will hold you back with deep peace. Sometimes a door opens very clearly, but at other times, my sign is a gentle restraint within your heart. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. As in Psalm 37:7, that waiting does not, but trains you to discern between the hurried voice of the flesh and the leading voice of the Spirit. When you learn this rhythm, you will no longer chase every opportunity out of fear of missing out, nor will you stand still in fear when I have called you to move forward. I know that the instinct to control within you does not easily fall silent. It will whisper that if you do not hold tightly, everything will fall apart. If you do not worry in advance, you will be caught off guard. If you do not intervene by yourself, I will arrive too late. But my child, anxiety has never been proof of wisdom. And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his span of life, as in Matthew 6:27? When you place something into my hands, you are not throwing it into emptiness. You are entrusting it to the one who knows the season of sowing, the season of sprouting, the season of blossoming, and the season of bearing fruit, like a seed buried in the soil. There is a time when it disappears from your sight, yet in the soft darkness of the earth, life is still quietly at work. Surrender is trusting that life, even when the surface shows no sign to reassure you. Then you will realize that the more you surrender, the lighter your shoulders become. You will still work, still love, still take responsibility, still walk forward, but no longer as one who must strain to carry the whole future. You will stand taller, breathe more deeply, and look farther ahead, because you know that tomorrow is not beyond my reach. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent. As in Exodus 14:14, there are battles I do not ask you to rush into by your own strength. I ask you to stand in faith and behold my deliverance. When you allow me to hold what belongs to me, you will have the strength to do what belongs to you with peace, not with anxiety. And when surrender has become the breath within your heart, your eyes will become more sensitive to the small signs I place along the road. A word spoken at the right time, an unexpected delay, an encounter that seems accidental, a gentle prompting in your mind, a door closing while your heart still remains at peace. All of these can become guiding markers when you are no longer blinded by the noise of control. I will teach you to recognize these signs not through superstition, but through intimacy with me. You will know that the one to whom you surrender has not remained silent and abandoned you. I still whisper, still guide, still place each small stone along the path you walk. Entrust today to me, and then entrust tomorrow as well. Place your plans, dreams, fears, the people you love, and the things you are waiting for into my hands. These hands are never loose, never hurried, and never out of season. In my hands, what you entrust will not be lost. It will be purified, protected, and made fruitful at the appointed time set by my love, my beloved child. When your heart has learned to place heavy things into my hands, the eyes of your soul will gradually become more refined. Before, you may have passed through a day and seen only tasks, pressure, appointments, and things that had to be completed. But when you live in surrender, you begin to recognize that I am still placing very gentle markers along your way. They do not always come like trumpets sounding on a mountain, nor do they always appear as a miracle that causes everyone to pay attention. Often, they are as small as a pure thought suddenly lighting up, as tender as a word of encouragement arriving at the right moment, as light as a prompting that makes you want to pray, to forgive, to take one more step toward what is good. Your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." As in Isaiah 30:21, that voice is not always loud, but it always carries peace, life, and a quiet light leading you back to the right path. I want you not to despise small things simply because they do not wear an outward garment of wonder. There are conversations you thought were merely accidental, yet a single sentence within them opens up something you had been asking me about for a long time. There are songs you hear in passing, yet their melody touches the weariness within you like gentle anointing oil. There are desires that arise very quietly, not driving you with ambition, but inviting you toward a direction that is purer, Veda, and closer to what I am preparing. Do not despise the day of small things. As in Zechariah 4:4, for in my kingdom, a small seed can still become a great tree. A fragile sign can still be the beginning of a deep journey. A light touch within the soul can still be my hand adjusting the direction of your steps. But my beloved child, I also want you to learn to discern with wisdom. Not every strong emotion is a sign from me, and not every open opportunity is a door I want you to enter. Therefore, when you notice something repeating, a confirmation coming from different directions, or an inner prompting accompanied by peace, bring it before me. Ask me with humility, Father, does this come from you? Does this make me more loving, purer, more courageous, more faithful, beloved? Do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. As in 1 John 4:1, I do not want you to chase signs with impatience. I want you to follow my leading with an awakened heart, one that knows how to listen and how to wait. Remember Gideon, the one who once felt small among an oppressed people. When my angel called him a mighty man of valor, he could not immediately see himself through that gaze. He asked me for confirmation through the sign of the fleece, when dew rested on the fleece while the ground remained dry. And then the next time, the ground was wet while the fleece remained dry. As in Judges 6, I patiently met him in his weakness, not to nourish doubt, but to help his faith rise to its feet. Do you see? I know that your heart sometimes needs to be strengthened. I do not despise you when you need confirmation, but I want you to seek that confirmation in communion with me, not in the panic of wanting control. A true sign will not make you arrogant, nor will it draw you into superstition. It will lead you into deeper obedience and humbler trust. There are seasons when I do not send only one single sign, but arrange many small signals into a straight line, like stones leading across a stream, an opportunity opening at the right time. Counsel from a wise person confirming what you have quietly prayed about. Another door closing while your heart does not panic. A scripture verse returning again and again to your mind when these things come together in peace. Pay attention. The steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. As in Psalm 37:63, I can use both outward circumstances and inward assurance to uphold you, so that you do not have to walk like someone lost in the fog. But remember, the sign does not replace me. The sign is only the finger pointing the way. I am the one you need to look up to. The world often hungers for what is dazzling, but I often choose gentleness to teach you intimacy. I do not want you to believe only when the earth shakes, the heavens open, or everything changes immediately before your eyes. I want you to know how to recognize me in things so small that the hurried would overlook them. When others see only an ordinary meeting, you may recognize an invitation. When others see only an inconvenient delay, you may recognize a fence of protection. When others see only an uneasy feeling, you may recognize the Spirit gently telling you to pause. The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all the innermost parts. As in Proverbs 20:27, I am training you to have eyes that can see beneath the surface and ears that can hear behind the noise. What I desire from you is not merely that you see and then keep it as a beautiful memory. When I place a sign before you, I am inviting you to respond. If I awaken a holy desire within you, bring it into prayer. Nourish it with my word, and let it be tested over time. If I open an opportunity, do not rush into it merely because you are excited, but also do not step back merely because you are afraid. Seek peace. Ask for wise counsel, and then move when I give clarity. If I use a word, an encounter, or a touch within your heart to remind you to forgive, begin with one small action. Be doers of the word, and not hearers only. As in James 1:22, a sign truly becomes a milestone only when you allow it to lead you into obedience. And as you faithfully respond to each small thing, your faith will grow quietly yet firmly. You will look back and see that I did not lead you with scattered fragments, but with a thread of love connecting one day to the next. Things that once seemed random will appear as the skillful weaving of my hand. The times you paused at the right moment, met the right person, heard the right word, avoided the right door. I stepped forward at the right time. All of these will become a testimony that I was still going before you. My beloved child, keep opening your heart. Keep remembering. Keep asking. Keep responding. I have not left you alone in this journey. I am still placing gentle markers along the road you walk. Not so that you would depend on signs, but so that you would trust more and more in the one who is lovingly guiding you through even the smallest steps. My beloved child, there is a very gentle grace growing within you every time you know how to pause and recognize the traces I place along the way. When you are no longer too busy with the questions of when something will happen or how something else will be resolved, you begin to live more deeply in the present moment. Your mind stops running too far into tomorrow. Your heart becomes less stretched by things that have not yet come, and your eyes learn to see my hand even in today's small step. Do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. As in Matthew 6:34, I do not say this so that you would live carelessly, but so that you would understand that my grace is given day by day, breath by breath, moment by moment, in just the measure you need. When you recognize a small reminder, a gentle arrangement, a timely slowing down, you will know that I am not absent from the journey. I am leading you by quiet milestones, placed in the right place and the right season, not so early that you are unready, and not so late that you are abandoned. There are things I use to lead you forward, but there are also things I use to bring you back inward, to the old rooms within your soul that still need light to visit them. A sudden word that moves you, a familiar scene that brings back something you thought you had forgotten, an encounter that causes your heart to touch an old sorrow. Do not be quick to fear those moments. Not every memory that returns comes to wound you again. Some memories are allowed to rise because the time has come for me to heal them. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. As in Psalm Satan eliakumentasatsemen, kolome. I do not enter your past like one digging through ashes in order to condemn. I enter as the Redeemer, carrying gentle anointing oil, clear water, and a light that can turn the place once wounded into a testimony of my kindness. My beloved child, your past is not an abandoned territory left behind you. I am still the Lord of the days you have already walked through, just as I am the one who holds the days still to come. There may have been seasons when you did not understand why you had to endure, why a single word could leave such a lasting mark, or why a loss you thought had passed could still quietly shape the way you see yourself and others. But today, I want you to let me place my gaze upon those places. When you look at the past alone, you easily see only mistakes, wounds, disappointments, or things you wish had been different. But when you look with me, you will see something more. I was there, quietly keeping you from being completely broken, quietly carrying you through roads where you did not even know you were being carried. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. As in Isaiah 43:2, that does not mean you were never hurt, but it means that pain has never had the final word over your life. Remember Joseph, the one who was sold by his own brothers, misunderstood, imprisoned, and forgotten for long years. If he had looked at his life only through the eyes of his wounds, he could have lived in bitterness until the end. But when my appointed time opened, he stood before those who had hurt him and said, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." As in Genesis 50:20, do you see, I do not call evil good, nor do I deny that betrayal is painful. But my power can go deeper than what human beings have caused, turning a place that seemed to hold only loss into a path that saves many lives. In the same way, I want to heal your memories not by erasing every trace, but by lighting within them a redeemed meaning, so that what once bound you no longer has the authority to control your future. Sometimes healing begins very small. You remember an old matter, but this time you no longer tremble as before. You think of someone who once hurt you, but your heart is no longer pulled into the same storm. You look back at a weaker version of yourself, and instead of despising yourself, you feel compassion. That is a sign that I am at work. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, all things have become new. As in 2 Coríntios 5:17. New does not always mean that you forget everything, often. New means that the old memory no longer burns you as it once did. It becomes a page I have rewritten with the ink of grace, so that when you open it, you no longer see only darkness, but also my hand patiently leading you to this day. I know there are memories that have formed quiet limitations within you. Because you were once abandoned, you fear trusting. Because you were once criticized, you fear stepping forward. Because you once failed, you shrink your own hope to avoid being hurt again. But, my child, I do not want you to live beneath the low ceiling built by pain. I want to raise the standard of hope within you, so that you no longer pray too small, simply because you fear disappointment too greatly. For I know the plans I have for you. declares the Lord, plans for peace and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope, as in Jeremiah 27:7. When I touch a memory, I also widen your vision. I do not only heal what is hurt, I restore your ability to expect the goodness you once lost. Therefore, when a sign touches your past, do not quickly close the door. Bring it before me with a simple prayer. Father, please show me what needs to be healed here. Help me see this through your eyes. Take from me the shame that does not belong to me, the fear that is no longer necessary, and the words of condemnation that have clung to my mind for too long. I will not hurry you. I know how to open one layer at a time, gently, like dawn opening the night. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not quench. As in Matthew 12:20, my gentleness is strong enough to enter the deepest place without breaking you further. Then you will see that the signs I give do not only lead you toward outward decisions, but also lead you into inward freedom. Every healed memory will make your steps lighter. Every expanded limitation will make you more courageous. Every hope lifted higher will make your eyes brighter before the future. You will no longer live as one being pulled backward by the past, but as one whose entire story has been redeemed by me. Trust me in this process. My beloved child, I am gathering the scattered fragments, wiping clean the parts that have been covered by the dust of sorrow, and weaving them again into a beautiful testimony. When I heal your memories, I do not only return peace to you, I prepare you to receive fully the goodness that my love has long prepared for you. My beloved child, there are seasons when I do not call you to move forward by running, but invite you to lie down in the green pastures of my mercy. You have become used to striving, used to examining yourself, used to turning back each old page to see where you were wrong, where you were lacking, where you were weak. But today, I want you to learn a holy rest, where your soul is not interrogated, not condemned, and not forced to repair everything immediately. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. As in Matthew 11:28, the rest I give is not an escape from truth, but the placing of truth beneath the light of love. In that light, you no longer see the past as a room containing only mistakes, but as a journey I have walked with you, where there were times you stumbled but were not left behind, times you were weak but were still carried, times you thought you could not make it through, but my hand quietly lifted you through. Therefore, I want you to have days when you stop being your own judge. Let your heart breathe in my kindness. Do not bring out every old fault and weigh it as though you must repay what my grace has already redeemed. Remember the times I protected you from what you could not see, the times I placed the right person beside you at the right moment, the times I turned a small word into great strength, the times your tears fell and I still counted every drop. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. As in Psalm 1:6, when you remember mercy instead of only remembering lack, your memory begins to be washed clean, not because every painful thing disappears from the story, but because that story is no longer written by shame, it is rewritten by mercy. There may be memories you thought had fallen asleep, and then one day they suddenly return through a scent, a sound, a word, or a familiar scene. When that happens, do not quickly panic, and do not blame yourself for not yet being completely strong. There are layers of ice within the heart that melt little by little, and each time they soften, I am bringing my warmth deeper within. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. As in Psalm 1:6, I do not touch your wound in order to hurt you further, I touch it to remove the thorn that remains, so that it no longer secretly controls your reactions, choices, and beliefs. You may cry before me without shame, be silent before me without being misunderstood, and say that you are still hurting without fearing that I am disappointed in you. I am a gentle Father, and I know how to heal without crushing your soul. Remember Elijah, the one who once stood before the people as fire came down from heaven, but afterward became so weary that he sat under a broom tree and asked to die. I did not come to him with a heavy rebuke, asking why a prophet had become weak in heart. I sent an angel to touch him, to give him bread and water, so that he could eat, sleep, and then eat again, as in Ein Kings 19. Do you see? Sometimes what the soul needs before it can hear a new direction is not a long sermon, but gentle care, rest, and strength being restored. I know that your body and your soul are connected. When you are exhausted, memories can become heavier, fear can speak louder, and hope can grow dim. Therefore, resting in me is also part of healing. Do not underestimate peaceful sleep, a meal received with gratitude, an afternoon without self-condemnation, or a moment when you allow yourself to be small in my arms. I also want you to look again at Peter by the lake shore, not through the eyes of failure, but through the light of restoration. He once said he would follow me even to death, yet he denied me in the darkest hour. But when I met him after the resurrection, I did not set up a courtroom beside the charcoal fire. I opened a conversation of love. I asked him whether he loved me, and then I entrusted my sheep to him again. As in John 21, my beloved child, this is how I restore. I do not merely forgive you and then leave you sitting forever on the edge of the story. I heal you so you can rise again. Receive back your confidence. Receive back your calling. And receive back the capacity to love that sin and shame once tried to steal from you. The things you once did wrong are not stronger than my grace. The times you were weak cannot erase the good purpose I have placed upon your life. When memory is healed, you will begin to recognize that many fences in your life were not built by me, but by fear. Perhaps you have told yourself that you should not try again, should not trust again, should not open your heart again, should not expect goodness again, because you are afraid of repeating an old pain. But my child, I have not called you to live inside a cage decorated with reasonable explanations. I have called you into abundant life. Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. As in Isaiah 43:18-19. I am not telling you to deny the past. I am telling you not to let the past rule the future. When I heal what has gone by, you will see your heart become wider, your steps become lighter, and the doors that once made you tremble will no longer be greater than the one who is holding your hand. Nothing you have gone through is useless in my hands. What was sweet can teach you gratitude. What was bitter can teach you mercy. What was lost can make you deeper. What you waited for can make you more steadfast. What you once thought was broken can become the foundation for a wisdom you did not have before. All things work together for good for those who love God. As in Romans 8:28, I do not call everything good, but I have the power to make everything serve what is good in my redemptive plan. Therefore, entrust to me even the pages you do not want to read again. I will not tear you apart because of those pages. I will continue writing with grace, so that when you look back, you will not only see the wound, but the testimony that I did not leave you for even a single moment. So, today, rest in me as a child held tightly by the Father. Allow your heart to have days without self-condemnation, hours without digging deeper into regret, and minutes simply to sit still and remember that you are loved. Look at yourself with the same gentleness I have toward you. Let old memories come, if they need to be healed, but do not let them sit on the throne. Place them at my feet, and let me turn ashes into a crown of beauty, and mourning into the oil of joy. As in Isaiah 61:3, my beloved child, I am restoring you, not only so you will hurt less, but so you will dare to live open again, dare to hope more greatly, and dare to step into the new with a free heart. In my hands, not a single tear is wasted, not a single dark season is final, and not a single scar lies beyond the healing power of my love. My beloved child, when I heal a deep place within you, I do not only make your pain lessen, I also turn that place into a spring where others may find hope. There were wounds that once made you want to close your heart, but when they are placed in my hands, they are no longer chains. They become testimonies that my love can enter the darkest place and kindle light there. He comforts us in all our affliction, so that we may be able to comfort others. As in 2 Corinthians 1:4. Do you see? The healing I give does not stop with you alone. It flows outward through a gentler gaze, through slower words, through the patience you give to trembling souls, walking the road you once passed through. When memory no longer rules you, your story begins to serve life. Others will look at you and see that a heart once cracked open can still sing, can still love, and can still keep walking with a beauty deeper than before. Therefore, do not be ashamed of the journey I have carried you through. I do not waste your tears, nor do I allow seasons of loneliness to become meaningless darkness. In my hands, what once made you weak can become the place where mercy matures. What once made you afraid can become the place where faith stands firm. What once made you think you had been left behind can become a testimony that I always arrive at the right time. I will give you a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning. As in Isaiah 61:3, when I turn ashes into beauty, I do not erase your history as though it never happened. I redeem it, covering it with new meaning, so that when you tell it again, pain is no longer the center, but my faithfulness becomes the light that covers all things. Then a day will come when you realize your heart has become lighter, not because you were never wounded, but because the wound no longer decides how you look at the future. Not because every question has been answered, but because you know that the one who holds your past is also holding your tomorrow. The Lord will go before you. He himself will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. As in Deuteronomy 31:8, when that truth takes root within you, your gaze will naturally turn forward. You will no longer remain standing beside doors that have closed. No longer call yourself by what has passed. No longer let regret drag your feet through the mire of fear. You begin to understand that I do not heal you merely so you can sit still in safety, but so you can step into new territory with a free heart. Looking forward does not mean you must see every turn in the road. It means you know that my hand is holding yours, even when you cannot yet see the whole path clearly. There are steps that are only illuminated when you set your foot down in faith, for we walk by faith, not by sight. As in 2 Corinthians 5:7, I do not promise that you will always understand immediately what is happening, but I promise that you will not walk alone. When you walk under my guidance, peace does not come from controlling every outcome. Peace comes from knowing that the one who leads the way is faithful. Therefore, step forward steadily, not because you are strong at every moment, but because I am your strength in every moment. My beloved child, some trials along the road are not proof that you are on the wrong path, but signs that you are drawing near to something of value. Do not be quick to interpret every resistance as a command to stop. Sometimes an obstacle is only training your feet to become steadier, making your heart deeper, and revealing the sources of strength I have placed within you that you have not yet recognized. Blessed is the one who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life. As in James 1:12, the enemy is often not deeply concerned with meaningless steps, but when you begin to step into your calling, begin to live in freedom, and begin to become a source of healing for others, opposition may rise. When that happens, do not be afraid. Let the resistance remind you that what I am doing through you is not ordinary. Remember Joshua when he led my people to the banks of the Jordan River. Before them was a river overflowing its banks. Behind them was the long journey of the wilderness, and ahead of them was the promised land that had not yet been conquered. I did not part the waters before the priest stepped down. Scripture says that when their feet touched the edge of the water, the river stopped flowing. As in Joshua 3, do you see? There are miracles that open after the first step of obedience, not before it. If they had remained standing on the shore, waiting for everything to become easy, they would never have seen the dry path appear in the middle of the waters. In the same way, there are things I have prepared for you that will become clear as you walk, as you trust, as you set your foot down and surrender instead of waiting for every fear to disappear. So when you face a river before you, do not immediately think the journey has ended. Ask me, Father, how are you inviting me to step? Perhaps I am telling you to wait in peace. Perhaps I am telling you to speak a courageous word. Perhaps I am telling you to forgive, so your heart will no longer be held back. Perhaps I am telling you to begin one small thing you have delayed for too long. Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. As in Joshua 1:9, courage does not mean you no longer tremble. Courage is when you still place your trembling hand into mine and keep walking. Because you know I will never lead you into a place where my grace cannot keep you. When you walk steadily, others will also be strengthened by your steadfastness. There are souls watching you, not to judge you, but to find a sign that they too can overcome. When they see that you are no longer imprisoned by the past, they will begin to believe that they too can be free. When they hear you speak of me, not with cold theory, but with the experience of one who has been carried through the night, they will recognize that hope is real. You are the light of the world. As in Matthew 5:14, that light is not something you create by yourself, but my life reflected through a heart that has allowed me to heal it, shape it, and send it forth. Therefore, my beloved child, lift your eyes toward what is ahead with eyes washed by grace. Your past has been kept by me, your present is being upheld by me, and your future is not outside my hand. Do not let what is past call you back into the old cage. Do not let resistance make you doubt the road I have opened. Walk step by step in peace. Do what I place before you today. Love the people I bring beside you today. And keep your heart today in my light. As you walk this way, you will not only move forward, you will become a living testimony that my love heals deeper than every wound, guides more surely than every uncertainty, and makes the one who was once broken become strong, gentle, and free in my glory. My beloved child, I want you to see the depth of every step you take in the light of eternity. There are steps you think are only private choices between you and me, but in truth, they are leaving traces for the souls who will walk after you. When you choose to stand firm instead of turning back, to trust instead of sinking into doubt, to love instead of letting wounds decide how you live, you are quietly opening a holy path for others to enter. Make straight paths for your feet, so that what is lame may not be put out of joint, but rather be healed. As in Hebrews 12:13. Do you see? Your steadiness does not only preserve you, it can also become a road of healing for those who are weak, those who are feeling their way forward, those who need a living witness that my grace truly can lift a person up and help them keep walking. Do not underestimate your quiet faithfulness, a day when you guard your peace amid difficult words, a moment when you choose to pray before reacting, a season when you keep walking even though you have not yet seen the result. All of these are being written into the story of faith that I will use to encourage more people than you know. There are people who may never hear your entire testimony, but they will see the way you live. They will see in your eyes a steadiness that does not come from circumstances, in your words, a gentleness that has been refined, and in your steps, a faith that no longer trembles before every wind. You are a letter of Christ, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God. As in 2 Coríntios 3:3. Your life, when placed in my hands, becomes an open letter through which others can read the faithfulness of their Father. Remember Rahab in the city of Jericho. In the eyes of many, she was only someone on the margins, living in a city about to fall, carrying a past that was not easy to honor. But when she chose to believe in the God of Israel and hung the scarlet cord in her window, that act did not save only her. Her whole family was protected, and her story was woven into the lineage of the Savior. By faith, Rahab did not perish with those who were disobedient. As in Hebrews 11:31. My beloved child, one choice of obedience can reach far beyond the limits of the present moment. A small sign of faith, when placed within covenant with me, can break old verdicts, open a new future, and become a doorway of blessing for people you never imagined you could touch. Therefore, when you look ahead, do not look as someone standing alone and trying to prove yourself. Look as a child who knows you are being sent into a story greater than yourself. I have led you through looking within so that you may recognize holy movements. I have taught you to see with my eyes so you will not be imprisoned by wounds and prejudice. I have trained you to worship so your heart will not be ruled by circumstances. I have taught you to surrender so your hands do not have to grip everything tightly. I have opened your eyes to signs so you may know that I am still whispering, and I have healed your memories so the past no longer holds the key to your future. All of these things are not separate from one another, but are like streams joining into one river, carrying you deeper into the life I have prepared. Now you can walk more steadily, not because you know everything, but because you know clearly the one who goes before you. The Lord goes before you. He himself will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. As in Deuteronomy 31:8. When that truth takes root, the fears that once distorted your vision will gradually lose their power. You no longer have to look at tomorrow through the eyes of someone who has been wounded, but through the eyes of one who has been loved, guided, and restored. Each step you take can become a confession that needs no noise. I am the faithful one, and the path by which I lead you is the path of peace. Even when you face trials, you can still stand firm, because your heart is not founded on what changes, but on the one who never changes. But my child, the journey of maturity does not close like a door that has been completed. It is like a holy spiral, each turn carrying you higher, deeper, and nearer to me. After every step forward, you will return again to listen within, not because you are moving backward, but because I always have new layers to reveal. After every season of healing, you will learn again to look at others with wider compassion. After every act of surrender, you will realize that you can still trust more deeply. We all are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory. As in 2 Coríntios 3:18. Your transformation is not a single event, but the continual work of my love, shaping you day by day to become freer, purer, and more like my light. Since you chose to set your feet upon the path I have shown you, the invisible chains that once wrapped themselves around your mind have begun to crack. The cycles of fear, self-protection, doubt, and old limitations no longer have enough power to hold you as they once did. I am bringing you into a more spacious place, where relationships are no longer governed by unhealed wounds, where love is no longer a burden you must strain to maintain, but becomes a natural flow from the source of life I have placed within your heart. The love of God has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit, as in Romans fem. When that love fills you, it will overflow in the way you speak to your family, the way you are patient with friends, the way you treat strangers, the way you listen to someone in pain, and even the way you forgive yourself. I do not need you to prove your renewal through great declarations. I rejoice when I see you living it in small moments, a gentle answer instead of harshness, a sincere presence instead of haste, a kind act that no one praises, a faithful choice when no one is watching. Whatever you do, do it wholeheartedly, as unto the Lord. As in Colossians 3:23. These are the very things that make your life become a holy fragrance. When you walk with steadiness, gentleness, and truthfulness, you are not merely living better, you are bearing witness that my love has touched you down to the roots, dissolved what was old, and opened a new flow within you. Therefore, my beloved child, continue walking with bright eyes and an open heart. Do not return to take up the yokes I have already removed from you. Do not shrink your love merely because there was once a season when you were wounded. Do not doubt the path simply because there are still portions of it not yet revealed. I am going before you, walking with you, and also using your steps to prepare the way for others. Each time you look, you will see another new trace of my love. Each time you obey, you will open another stretch of freedom. Each time you love with maturity, you will allow the world around you to touch a small part of my kingdom. Walk firmly, for my hand is holding you. Love, truly, for the source of love within you comes from me. Live as one who has been set free, for the place I am leading you into is not the cage of fear, but the wide open land of grace, peace, and abundant life. My beloved child, what I am doing within you does not always need to be explained in words. There will be people who do not have enough patience to hear your whole story, who are not close enough to understand the seasons through which I have led you, and who are not deep enough to recognize the quiet battles you have overcome. Yet they can still touch my love through your life. They will recognize it in the way you listen to someone who is exhausted without rushing to judge, in the way you give something good without secretly keeping a record of debt, in the way you choose to release from your heart the thorns of resentment so your soul is no longer dragged along by what is old. Let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. As in Matthew 5:16. Do you see? True light does not need to shout in order to prove that it is light. It only needs to be present, steady, pure, and those walking in darkness will recognize that a lamp is burning. I know the world often looks for great signs, but my love is often revealed through very small things. A soft word when you could be harsh, a wise silence when you could defend yourself, a hand extended when you have the right to turn away. These are the places where my love becomes visible. You did not become this way in a single day. It is the result of many seasons in which you allowed me to reshape your perspective, touch your memories, heal old reactions, and teach you to love no longer from lack, but from the source of life I have placed within you. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness. As in Galatians 5:22, those fruits do not grow from striving, but from a life that remains in me long enough for the roots of the soul to drink from the waters of grace. Therefore, when the circumstances around you are still shifting, do not be surprised if your heart still finds a deep hidden place of peace. That peace does not come because everyone understands you, nor because everything is going smoothly in the way you expected. It comes from knowing that I am near, and my nearness is stronger than every noise outside. You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you. As in Isaiah 26:3, when you set your heart upon me, you will no longer be carried away by every opinion, every judgment, and every change in others like a leaf before the wind. You may still feel pain and still see the complexity, but beneath it all, there is a firm rock reminding you, I have not left you, and the work I am doing within you has never stopped. However, my beloved child, I also want you to stay awake, wherever true life is present. Opposition may also arise. Do not be quick to see contrary winds as proof that you are on the wrong path. Sometimes the headwind itself shows that your sail has been set in the right direction. What I have sown in you is taking root, growing, and beginning to have influence. So resistance may appear to discourage you, but opposition has no authority to erase what I have spoken. If God is for us, who can be against us? As in Romans 8:31, you do not need to fear every opposing voice, because the final voice does not belong to human doubt, but to me, the one who has called you, kept you, and led you forward. Remember Nehemiah when he returned to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. That work was not merely placing stone upon stone, it was restoring honor, protection, and hope for my people. But when the wall began to rise, Sanballat and Tobiah mocked, threatened, spread false reports, and tried to pull him down from the work. Nehemiah did not waste his strength chasing every attack. He answered, I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. As in Nehemiah 3. Do you see? Spiritual maturity is knowing how to discern what needs a response and what is only noise, trying to pull you away from the place where I have set you. Not every doubtful word deserves your time. Not every misunderstanding requires your immediate defense. There are times when your most beautiful answer is to keep building, keep loving, keep being faithful, and keep your heart pure before me. I know there will be people who do not understand the journey you are walking. Some will see only one part of the story and quickly draw conclusions. Some will quietly doubt because they do not know what I have spoken to you in the secret place. Some may even distort your intentions and assign to you things that do not belong to your heart. But my child, do not let your soul be governed by the need to be approved by everyone. If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. As in Galatians 10:10, you are not called to live under the changing scales of public opinion. You are called to walk according to my rhythm, even when that rhythm is quiet, unusual, difficult to explain, and does not fit into everyone's understanding. There is a sacred vow between me and you, and it does not always need to be brought before the crowd for proof. It is the deep agreement within your soul that you will follow the light I give, love in the way I teach, and live faithfully with what I have placed in your hands. The recognition of people may rise and fall like passing clouds upon the ground, but my acceptance of you does not change. I have called you by your name, you are mine. As in Isaiah 43:1, when you remember that you belong to me, you will tremble less before being misunderstood. When you know that I have called you by name, You no longer have to chase every other voice in order to find your worth. When you stand in my affirmation, your soul will become lighter, because you no longer carry the burden of making everyone agree with you. So release the need to explain every turn in the road. Not everyone has been prepared to understand what I am doing within you, and that does not make my plan any less holy. Some people can only see the outer layer, but I see the motives, the tears, the obedience, and the times you quietly chose what was right when no one knew. The steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. As in Psalm 37, 23. Your task is not to build a high wall of arguments to protect your reputation, but to keep your heart aligned with my voice. When your heart remains in rhythm with mine, your steps will not lose direction. Even if the road is steep, winding, and has stretches that must be walked in silence. My beloved child, continue walking in the gentleness I have sown within you. Let others see me through the way you live, not by display, but through steadfast faithfulness. When you are opposed, stand firm without becoming bitter. When you are misunderstood, guard your heart from pride and resentment. When you are praised, humbly remember that every good thing within you comes from me. Whatever you do, do it wholeheartedly, as unto the Lord, and not for men. As in Colossians 3:23, if you live before me in this way, you will be free from the need to prove yourself, free from the fear of being judged, free from the spiral of trying to please everyone. And in that freedom, my love will continue to flow through you, quietly yet powerfully, tenderly yet impossible to extinguish, so that wherever you pass, the fragrance of grace will remain. My beloved child, on the journey where I am leading you, you will meet many different faces, and not everyone is placed beside you with the same role. Some people only stand at a distance and quietly observe how you walk through change. Some draw nearer because they are curious about the peace they do not yet understand. Some walk with you for only a short stretch to bring a lesson, a reminder, or a light of understanding. And there will also be those whom I place beside you for the long term as companions in grace. Do not be quick to grieve when some people do not remain, and do not cling too tightly when I am teaching you to open your hands. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. As in Ecclesiastes 3:1, every relationship has its season. And when you look through my eyes, you will not only ask, how long will this person stay, but, Father, what have you taught me through this person's presence? I know there were times when your heart measured the value of a connection by the length of time, by the degree of closeness, or by whether that person understood you completely. But my child, in the picture I am painting, there are very short brushstrokes that are still deeply necessary. A timely word of encouragement can keep you from giving up. Someone who once hurt you may help you recognize the place within your heart that needs healing. A person you meet only briefly may sow into you a sentence that makes your direction clearer. Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. As in Proverbs 27:17, some sharpening is not pleasant. But when I am in that process, it is not meant to wound you without purpose. It helps you become brighter, truer, and more mature in love. Therefore, receive people with wisdom and mercy. Love does not mean you open every door for everyone to enter the deepest place of your soul. Wisdom does not mean you close your heart coldly to all. I want you to learn holy balance, tender yet awake, generous yet with boundaries, sincere yet not losing your peace. Be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. As in Matthew 10:16, when you live this way, You will no longer be controlled by the fear of being abandoned or the need to be accepted. You will know who needs to be listened to, who needs to be forgiven from a distance, who needs to be supported, and who needs to be entrusted back to me. Remember Barnabas, the one called the son of encouragement in Acts 4:36. When Saul had newly turned back to me, and many people still feared him because of his past persecution of the church, Barnabas did not look at him only through his old history. He brought Saul to the apostles and testified about what I had done in his life. As in Acts 9. Do you see? A person who knows how to see through grace can become a bridge into a new destiny. Barnabas did not deny Saul's past, but he recognized my new work. In the same way, when you are healed, your eyes will no longer be quick to define people only by their old pages. You will know how to look deeper, pray more, and sometimes your trust at the right moment will help someone else find the courage to step into what I am calling them to become. The patience I have formed within you will also become a testimony that needs no noise. Some will look at you in the midst of shifting circumstances and wonder why you no longer fall apart as you once did. Some will see you misunderstood, yet not responding with bitterness. See you delayed, yet not losing hope. See you waiting, yet still keeping gratitude alive. Then your life will speak in place of many sermons. Always be ready to give an answer to everyone who asks you for the reason for the hope within you, yet with gentleness and reverence. As in at Peter Tree, Fempton, the hope within you is not a slogan. It is a light refined through the nights when you chose to trust me, even before you could see the way. My beloved child, I do not need you to force yourself to become a perfect model for others. I only want you to live truthfully in my presence. It is sanctified honesty that has the power to touch human hearts. When you admit that you were once weak, but have been upheld, once afraid, but have been taught to trust, once wounded, but have been healed, others will see that hope still remains for them too. You are the light of the world, as in Matthew 5:14. But that light is not the light of performance. It is the light of a heart that has allowed me to remain, allowed me to shape it, and allowed me to turn its cracks into places where grace can shine through. Your presence can become a very gentle invitation. Come closer to the Father, for His love is still enough for the weary. Do not be afraid of the days ahead. They are not abandoned blank spaces, nor are they a foggy territory you must feel your way through alone. Before you set foot into tomorrow, I am already there. The Lord will go before you. He Himself will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. As in Deuteronomy 31:8, what you call the future is not outside my reach. Every encounter, every door, every slowing down, and every step forward can become part of the path I am opening. When you keep your eyes on me, the unknown will no longer be a threatening darkness, but a place where your faith continues to grow. And when you bring each breath into rhythm with me, you will realize that you are not only completing your own journey. Through your obedience, I can begin other journeys. Someone you strengthen today may become a source of strength for many tomorrow. A word of forgiveness you choose to sow can break a chain of bitterness passed from one generation to another. One faithful step of yours can open a way for your family, your friends, or people whose names you have never known. The offspring of the righteous will be blessed. As in Psalm 116:6, you do not always see your influence immediately, but in my hands, small faithfulness can reach farther than you imagine. So keep walking, my beloved child, with an open heart and awakened eyes. Welcome those who come with love. Release those who leave with peace. Keep those I entrust to you with faithfulness, and surrender every relationship back to me in trust. Do not try to hold anyone through fear, and do not push anyone away through old wounds. Let my love guide the way you draw near, the way you let go, the way you listen, and the way you forgive. When you live this way, your life will become a road carrying the fragrance of grace. Those who pass by will sense that I am near, and those who are called to continue walking with you will recognize that this journey is not yours alone, but part of a greater plan in which I use the love that has healed you to awaken, strengthen, and open the way for many other souls to return to my light. My beloved child, do not measure the value of your life by passing applause or the fleeting gaze of the world. I did not form you merely to create a few brief impressions that vanish like footprints in the sand. I am building within you a work with depth, with foundation, with intention that reaches beyond the limits of the seasons you can now see. There are things within you today that others have not yet recognized, but I saw them before you even knew how to call yourself by name. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. As in Jeremiah said to Lime, you are not the result of chance, nor are you a life thrown into the world without direction. You are part of a sacred design, and every step you take in faith is placing another stone into the work I have appointed. I know there were stretches of road you once walked through where your heart wondered, were those days useless? Did those tears fall without anyone hearing? Did those times when you patiently endured in silence mean anything at all? But, my child, nothing placed in my hands becomes wasted. All things work together for good for those who love God. As in Romans 8:28, this does not mean every experience is gentle, but it means my power can enter even what is broken and cause it to serve what is good. There were pains that once made you think you were being delayed, but in truth, I was using them to make your heart deeper. There were times when you thought you were going in circles, but in truth, I was leading you away from what was not yet the right time or did not belong to you. Dry seasons are not always signs of absence. Sometimes it is precisely in the desert that I cause the roots of your faith to go deeper toward the hidden waters. A tree growing in easy soil may turn green quickly, but a tree that endures wind and scorching heat learns how to cling tightly to the source of life beneath it. You are the same. The days when you do not feel strong may be the very days when I am forming endurance within you. The nights when you do not hear many words may be the place where I teach you to trust my presence instead of relying only on feelings. I will open rivers on the bare heights and springs in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water. As in Isaiah 41:18, I do not only bring you out of dry places, I can also make the dry place itself become a testimony that I know how to cause life to overflow from where it seemed nothing remained. Remember David, my beloved child. When Samuel anointed him, the throne had already been appointed in my will, but the road to the throne was not immediately paved with glory. He returned to the fields, continued tending sheep, then passed through caves, pursuit, loneliness, and many nights when he had to strengthen himself in me. The world may have seen only a young man forgotten behind the flock, a fugitive running through the wilderness, but I saw a king being formed in the secret place. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. As in Psalm 26 is not merely a beautiful song, but the testimony of one who had learned to recognize me in green pastures as well as in the valley of the shadow of death. In the same way, there are seasons when I do not lift you high immediately, because I am placing within you the qualities needed so that when the door opens, you will not lose your soul. Seasons of healing are also not only meant to erase pain. I heal you in order to enlarge your heart. When a wound is touched by me, that place does not merely stop bleeding. It begins to become a place where you understand others more deeply. With greater patience and gentleness, you will no longer look at the weak with the same harsh eyes as before, because you yourself have once needed to be lifted up. You will not rush to draw conclusions about souls who are out of rhythm, because you know there are battles only I can fully see. He comforts us in all our affliction, so that we may be able to comfort others. As in 2 Coríntios 1:4, the wholeness I restore to you is not a cold, untouched wholeness. It is a restored wholeness, softer, deeper, and carrying the fragrance of mercy. Therefore, do not despise the small details in your journey. A brief encounter, a delay, a closed door, a season of silence, a prayer no one hears, a moment when you choose forgiveness instead of holding resentment. All of these can be threads I am weaving into the garment of your life. When you look closely, you may see only tangled threads of different colors, but from my perspective, they are being formed into an image with order, beauty, and purpose, for we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. As in Ephesians 2:10, you do not have to manufacture meaning for your life by your own strength. I have prepared good works, seasons of learning, roads, people, and even the necessary silences to shape you according to my good purpose. I know there are parts of your story that you once thought had been forgotten. Perhaps it is a delayed dream, an old version of yourself that was once wounded, a season when you lived with the feeling that no one understood, or a memory you do not want to touch again. But I have never forgotten anything that belongs to you. I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. As in Isaiah 49:16, what you thought had fallen out of everyone's sight has always remained before me. I care for even the parts you keep hidden, even the things you do not have enough words to explain, even the roads you thought only you knew. And in that care, I do not merely preserve them as they were. I transform them, purify them, and cause them to become part of the wisdom, gratitude, and new strength within you. So, my beloved child, rest in this truth. Your life is not a sequence of disconnected events, but a work I am patiently bringing to completion. Joy has taught you gratitude. Tears have taught you dependence. Waiting has taught you endurance. Loss has opened within you a deeper compassion, and the dark seasons have made my light within you more precious. He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. As in Philippians 1:6, I am not finished with you, and not one chapter in my hands is meaningless. Keep walking in faith, for every detail of your life is being touched by me. Every wound is being redeemed by me, and every season you have passed through is helping form the radiant, free, and steadfast person I lovingly appointed you to become from before time began. My beloved child, do not see the place where you are standing today as a meaningless waiting room, and do not be quick to call this season a delay simply because you have not yet seen every promise bloom before your eyes. There are places I bring you to not so that you will hurry through them, but so that you will remain long enough to recognize that the ground beneath your feet has been touched by my presence. Take off your sandals from your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. As I spoke to Moses in Exodus 3:5, holy ground is not always a place that feels pleasant, radiant, or recognized by the world. Holy ground is the place where I meet you, call your name, refine you, and prepare you for what your eyes have not yet fully seen. Therefore, stand firm in this season with gentle reverence, not the fear of panic, but the sacred attentiveness of a soul that knows its Father is working even in the most ordinary things. I know that there are times in your heart when you want to move faster, to know the outcome immediately, to see clearly why you must pass through this stretch of road. But my child, there are lessons that are given only to the one who knows how to stand still and trust. If you rush away from the place where I am training you, You may carry the dream with you, but lack the depth needed to hold it. If you focus only on the next season, you will miss the grace I am pouring out in the present one. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. As in Psalm 37. This waiting is not making you smaller, it is causing your roots to grow deeper. It is not taking your future away from you. It is preparing you to enter that future with a heart that is steadier, purer, and vidare. What I want you to nurture right now is gratitude. Thanksgiving is not only the word you speak after the door has opened, after the prayer has been answered, after the thing you long for is already in your hands. Thanksgiving is the breath of faith when the seed is still beneath the soil, when the surface shows no sign, when everything outside seems silent. Give thanks in all circumstances. As in 1 Thessalonians 5:18, that word does not tell you to deny your tears, but teaches you to place your tears beneath the light of my faithfulness. When you give thanks before you see, you are telling your soul that the unseen realm is not empty. I am preparing, arranging, and causing good things to take root in places where ordinary eyes cannot yet reach. Remember Jacob on the road as he was fleeing, when he had only a stone for a pillow and night had fallen over, a future filled with uncertainty. In his eyes, that place may have seemed only like a temporary resting place for a weary and lonely man. But in a dream, he saw a ladder connecting earth and heaven, angels ascending and descending, and I spoke a promise over his life. As in Genesis 28, when Jacob awoke, he said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." Do you see? There are places you think are only pauses between two stages of the journey, yet in truth they are Bethel, the place where I reveal that heaven is still open over you. Your present may look as simple as a stone beneath your head, but if I am present there, that place becomes the gate of heaven. Therefore, do not call this season a step backward. There are times when I place you in the middle of opposing currents, not so that the waters may sweep you away, but so that you may learn the strength of being rooted. When everything around you urges you to react, rush, compare, or doubt, I teach you to hold your place in peace, and having done all, to stand firm. As in Ephesians 6:13, standing firm is not being motionless in fear. It is the posture of one who knows where they have been placed and by whom they are kept. If you allow every changing wind to pull your heart in a different direction, you will become weary before the new season arrives. But when you stand in me, even the headwind becomes training, making your feet steadier and your vision clearer. There will be old desires returning to knock on the door of your heart. Dreams once cherished suddenly coming alive again. Questions you thought had settled rising once more beneath a thin veil of mist. Do not be afraid of those movements. Not every stirring within your heart is a sign of weakness. Sometimes it is evidence that the seed I planted is still alive. But bring them before me, so I may discern what needs to be restored, what needs to be purified, and what needs to be placed back into its proper time. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. As in Proverbs 3:5, when a desire returns, do not quickly grasp it out of the fear of losing it, and do not quickly push it away out of the fear of pain. Let me place my hand upon it, for in my hands what belongs to you will not be lost, but only made pure. My beloved child, there are moments before dawn that always seem longer and heavier than usual. The darkness then is not a sign that the light has failed, but the final boundary before the new day begins to break open. Weeping may stay for the night, but joy comes in the morning, as in Psalm 35. Therefore, when you feel a mist of uncertainty entering your heart, remember that I am not dimmed by your fog. I clearly see what you cannot yet see, firmly hold what you have not yet touched, and am leading you in the right rhythm. My dawn does not come late. It appears at the moment when your heart has become steady enough to receive the light without losing humility. Today, walk through this experience as one carrying sacred provision. Learn gratitude in small things, steadfastness in what remains unclear, listening in what is still silent, and trust in what has not yet taken form. I am using this very season to prepare you for the next one. What you learn today will become wisdom tomorrow. The peace you guard today will become strength in the new door. The gratitude you sow today will become fertile soil where the promise can bloom. I am here with you. I have not left you standing on barren ground, but on holy ground. And where I am present, no moment is wasted. No night is final. And no seed sown in faith will fail to be tended by me until it bears fruit in its appointed season. My beloved child, I want you to release from your hands the quiet pressure that insists everything must take shape at the speed you desire. I do not look at you with a ruler measuring speed or delay, nor do I judge you by what you accomplish within a certain amount of time. What I seek in you is a faithful heart, one that knows how to stand firm in the light it has received, how to walk steadily according to the small calling of each day, how to remain in peace even while the promise is still being woven in a place ordinary eyes cannot yet see. One who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much. As in Luke kuusi toista, 10. Do you see, the days that seem ordinary are the very place where I test and nurture your true strength. Not every silence is a delay. Often it is a holy room where I am preparing your heart to receive what I give without losing humility, clarity, and peace. The space between the promise and its fulfillment is not a forgotten emptiness. It is a mysterious soil where faith sends its roots deeper than passing emotions. In that in-between place, you learn that trust is not only rejoicing when you see a sign, but guarding your heart even when nothing outward has changed. You learn that patience is not helplessly standing by, but the strength that knows how to wait in obedience. The testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect. As in James 1, 3-4, I am completing a work within you before I place the fullness of the new thing into your hands. If blessing comes while the foundation is still shallow, even that beautiful thing could shake you. But when your roots have gone deep into me, you will not be uprooted from the holy ground, where I have placed you by the winds of success, pressure, or expectation. Remember Simeon in the temple. He had received the promise that he would not see death before he had seen my Christ. Day after day, he waited, without noise, without creating false signs for himself, without departing from hope. Then, at the appointed time, led by the Holy Spirit, he entered the temple and took the child Jesus into his arms, declaring that his eyes had seen my salvation. As in Luke Cox, my beloved child, Simeon did not make the promise arrive faster through anxiety. He remained in the right position, kept the right heart, and I brought the promise at the right hour. In the same way, what I have spoken over your life does not need you to force it into form by human strength. I know the way to it. I know the hour the door will open, and I know how to place you in the right place to meet what I have prepared. Therefore, when the urge rises within you to intervene too soon, to pull the future closer through fear, pause and return to me. Say in the secret place, Father, I trust your timing. That small prayer will draw your soul out of the spiral of haste and place you again beneath the shadow of peace. The vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. If it seems slow, wait for it will surely come. As in Habakkuk 2:3. I am not late because of helplessness, nor do I hurry because of pressure. My timing is early enough to keep you from despair, and mature enough for every necessary element to be brought into proper alignment. You only need to be faithful to today's light, follow today's guidance, love within today's duty, and leave tomorrow in my hands.